So today we're going to be delving into another album review, flashing back to 2018 to review Tremonti's fourth studio record entitled A Dying Machine. Tremonti is a three-piece metal band formed in 2011 by ex-Creed and current Alter Bridge guitarist Mark Tremonti. They have released 4 studio albums from 2012 to 2018, with A Dying Machine being their most recent. In my opinion, this is their best studio record to date. And that's saying a lot, considering that 2015's Cauterize was easily in my top 5 for that year. Everything from the guitars, the drumming, the riffage, and the lyrics especially are where it needs to be as far as quality. So, to start off, this is Tremonti's first concept record, and it tells the story of, well, you guessed it, a dying machine, and someone who has fallen in love with a dying machine. An autonomous machine built just to be loved, and I don't want to give away too much of the story, so we'll just leave it at that. This concept may seem a bit cheesy at first, but if you listen to this album cover to cover, you will definitely get the sense that a lot of thought and emotion were poured into these lyrics as they were fully fleshed out. Not only the lyrics, but also the guitar riffs and the tempo, and just the pacing that goes along with the songs in general. It just seems to hit all the right notes at just the right times. But one could make the argument that consistency is just how the band operates. They've honestly been a well-oiled machine ever since their inception in 2011, and 2012 with their debut album All I Was, they've been releasing consistently with very few exceptions. They've released 4 albums so far, this is their 4th, and in that time, Mark Tremonti, the main force, the driving force behind Tremonti, has also released many albums with other bands, Alter Bridge being the main example of this. And Mark himself has actually said that this back and forth between bands has actually helped his writing process and get the creative juices flowing for which riffs or which lyrics to use for which band. If something doesn't work for Alter Bridge, he'll use it for his band. If something doesn't work for his band, he'll use it for Alter Bridge. Or back when he was in Creed, he'd use it for Creed, and so on and so forth. At one point, he even mentioned that he got the idea for A Dying Machine while on stage for Alter Bridge.
20 minutes before I go on stage, I came up with this idea of a man who creates this being to be his, to love him unconditionally. This is in the future, obviously. Mm-hmm. But she's conditioned to love him, but she doesn't know when to turn it off. So he gets tired of the situation, but she's relentless about it. And in the end, she chases him down and kills him strictly out of passion. But the song is called Traits.
When I first listened to Tremonti's debut album, All I Was, I felt like it was a really good start for the band. It had a lot of good songs on it, and a lot of good leads, but it just felt really scattered. The pacing was off, and it felt like it was thrown together because the songs were good, but they didn't really come together and bind in any sort of cohesive manner. With 2015's Cauterize, Tremonti upped the ante and upped the game a little bit. Everything seemed to flow together in a nice cohesive manner, and all the songs came together perfectly. It was a very heavy album, and it's probably their heaviest to date. Their next one, which they actually recorded at the same time, entitled Dust, was a little bit more laid back and mellow, but it still had the melodic tunes that Tremonti is famous for. A Dying Machine is basically all 3 of those albums put together. And I know that's a commonly used expression, and it's almost a stereotype and a cliche at this point. For this album, it definitely holds true. The cohesion from Cauterize is there, melody from Dust, and just the punch from All I Was as well, and the lyrical genius that is Mark Tremonti himself. So without further ado, let's get into some of the tracks. Bringer of War, everything from the opening intro just makes it seem like it's you against the world. It paints a picture of war, of desolation, of conflict, of battle, and it just really gets you pumped up. That's probably my favorite thing about it. There's a lot of songs on this album like that, such as this, A Dying Machine, this being Bringer of War, A Dying Machine, Trust, From the Sky is another one. They're all really, really good. There really isn't a downside to this album that I can really think of, except for maybe a couple little nitpicks that I can point out. This is by far Tremonti's masterpiece. And even though I don't really much care for concept records, Operation Mindcrime notwithstanding, this is a damn good one. You can check it out. It's amazing. Just everything about it is good. The only downside that I would say, and this is just very, very tiny little nitpick, the song Take You With Me seems like it's a little bit out of place. Even though I really like the song, it seems a little out of place as far as tempo goes, as far as just the general sound of it. It sounds too upbeat to be on an album as rockin' and serious and heavy as A Dying Machine. And the intro, or outro I should say, Found. It's a 3-minute outro and it doesn't really do much of anything except play a bunch of computer noises in the background, sort of giving that outro vibe of like a dystopian future ruled by machines.
And there's a lot more going on than just the love story. There's like a malevolent leader that's hell-bent on destroying everybody, and that comes in right from the beginning of the Bringer of War song, opening the record.
Those are really my only nitpicks about this album, but I really like it. It's my favorite album by Tremonti. Some top songs are Bringer of War, Trust, From the Sky, A Dying Machine, and The First, The Last. That's probably one of my favorites for all time for Tremonti. It's just a deep song, lyrically or otherwise. It still packs the same punch as the other ones, and even though it's a little bit mellower, it's not as, well, say, poppy sounding as Take You With Me, so it doesn't really sound out of place on the album, especially with the deep lyrical content. As the Silence Becomes Me is another one that really took me a little bit to get into, but once I did, man, it sounded good. So overall, like I said, Tremonti is an amazing artist. He is slowly becoming one of my favorites. Well, he already is one of my favorites, but he's slowly becoming my favorite artist just because of the sheer depth of content that he produces, and it's all quality content. I don't think I've ever given a Tremonti album less than 9 out of 10. That's how good they are. So, A Dying Machine, I am going to give a 10 out of 10. So, adding this to the Masterpiece collection. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Enjoy some snippets from the Tremonti interview that I picked off Loudwire. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.
So why not try to do it again with another song and try to keep telling the story, and then 4 songs deep, I'm like, all right, it's 4 songs deep, let's just go the whole way and make the whole thing a concept record. I'm not a fan of concept records. I mean, there's been great ones, but it's never been something where it's you know, I grew up listening to this concept record I want to do, and it just kind of fell in my lap and just chased it down.